In 1992, Enron walked into the Securities and Exchange Commission with a single request and left with permission to misrepresent every financial statement they would ever file. Over the next 9 years, they booked $1.3 billion in profits that existed only on paper. The executive who designed the system collected $67 million before it collapsed. The regulator who approved it never faced a single consequence. They knew, and they buried it. So why has no one ever told you exactly how they convinced the government to hand them the keys? This is the part of the Enron story that gets erased. When people talk about the collapse, the bankruptcy, the pension funds wiped clean, the criminal trials, they start in 2001. They start at the end. But the real decision, the one that made every fraud that followed inevitable, happened a full decade earlier in a meeting most people have never heard of. By 1992, Enron had a problem. They were trading natural gas contracts, buying low, promising delivery at locked-in prices years down the road. Standard accounting required them to count revenue only when the gas actually moved. Jeff Skilling had a different idea. He called it mark-to-market accounting. The concept: book the estimated future value of a contract the moment you sign it. Don't wait for the cash. Count the profit today using your own projections on your own terms. Skilling flew to Washington. He met with SEC officials and argued that Enron was a sophisticated financial firm, not just an energy company, and sophisticated firms used mark-to-market. The SEC agreed. On January 30, 1992, the commission granted Enron special permission to adopt the method retroactively. No other pipeline company in America had ever received that approval. What Skilling did not mention in that room: mark-to-market only works if your projections are honest. And Enron's projections answered to no one. Within 2 years, Enron was manufacturing earnings out of thin air. A deal projected to generate $40 million over 20 years got booked as $40 million in profit the quarter it was signed, even if the project eventually failed completely. The losses got shuffled into subsidiary structures so layered that their auditors at Arthur Andersen couldn't untangle them, or chose not to. Arthur Andersen billed Enron $52 million in 2000 alone. $27 million of that was consulting revenue. The firm auditing Enron's books was simultaneously building Enron's internal systems. The conflict was visible to anyone willing to look. Nobody looked. But here's the part that even the post-collapse reporting mostly missed. The executives at the top knew the earnings were fiction years before the end. Internal memos from 1999 show Enron's own risk analysts flagging the off-balance sheet structures as unsustainable. One internal presentation stated it plainly: if the market discovered what was hidden, the company was finished. That document stayed inside Enron for 2 full years. Meanwhile, Ken Lay and Jeff Skilling were running a different story in public. In April 2001, 7 months before the bankruptcy, Skilling was on an earnings call describing Enron as the greatest company in the world. The stock sat at $60. Employees were still being encouraged to keep Enron shares in their retirement accounts. By that point, Lay had quietly sold over $100 million of his own stock in the prior 12 months. He sold while he told his employees to hold. 20,000 workers lost their retirement savings. The median pension loss was $47,000. For employees in their 50s, there was no path back. Lay was convicted in May 2006. He died of a heart attack 6 weeks later before sentencing, which under federal law meant his conviction was automatically vacated. He died legally innocent. Skilling served 12 years and was released in 2019. He immediately announced plans to start a new energy company. Andrew Fastow, the CFO who engineered the off-balance sheet vehicles hiding billions in debt, served 6 years. He now speaks at business schools about financial ethics. His standard fee is $30,000 per appearance. The SEC revised its mark-to-market oversight guidelines after the collapse. Revised, not eliminated. The same method under updated disclosure rules remains in active use across multiple industries today. The core logic, book the projected value now, manage the reality later, did not die with Enron. It migrated. That 1992 SEC approval didn't create Enron's greed, but it handed them something precise: a legal, government-sanctioned mechanism to report a company that didn't fully exist yet. And when it collapsed, the regulators who approved it, the auditors who blessed it, and the analysts who rated Enron investment grade 14 days before the bankruptcy filing. Not one of them was named in a single federal indictment. There's a question that no congressional hearing has ever answered clearly. If a company can persuade regulators to pre-approve the exact tool they will use to commit the fraud, and the regulator faces zero consequence when it all unravels, what exactly is the regulator protecting? The answer, if anyone in Washington ever had one, is still buried.